Good morning. It is a pleasure to be with you here this morning and to bring you greetings from the newest nation in the world, the Republic of South Sudan. The scriptures that we heard read this morning are scriptures that people in South Sudan say were written about them, that for many years they cried out to the Lord, and he finally heard their cries and answered their prayers and granted them the freedom of a new nation, the freedom to be their own people, and that they are now turning their weeping into joy, that they have stopped their mourning and they give praise to God for the wonderful things that he has done in their nation. But I heard a woman in the ministry of the government say to us that while the war is over, the battles are just beginning. And there are many battles that face this nation. This is a nation that for the better part of the last 60 years has been in war with itself. Some people say it was the war between the North and the South. Others say it was a war between the Arabs and tribal Africans. And still others will say it was a war between Muslims and Christians. And it was all of this. There is not a household in this entire new nation that has not been affected by the war. Many households have lost family members in the fighting. Others have lost family members who ran away during the war seeking safety, and they now do not know where they are. Some are in Ethiopia, some in Kenya, some in Uganda, some in Australia, and others here in the United States. Other households have family members that are now disabled, and they have all been affected. It was my privilege to be with these people on July 9th of this year as they celebrated their independence. And as we sat there, there was a large group of disabled veterans sitting across from us, people who had fought for their freedom. At the same time, my coworker, who also fought in the war and was sitting beside me, looked out and he said, "Do you see that chief sitting over here?" And there was an elderly gentleman dressed in leopard skin. And he said, "I remember going to his home during the war." You see, each household had to give grain based on the number of male members of the household to help support the army. And the chief would collect the grain from all the people in his village and store it. And then when the army needed it, they would send people like Andrew to collect it. And one time Andrew went to this man's house to collect the grain. And the man said to him, "Do you really think you're going to win this war?" And Andrew replied, "Of course we're going to win." And the old man shook his head and he said, "I don't think it will happen in my lifetime." And yet here he was, celebrating with the rest of the people and praising God for their nation, that they now had independence. I work with an organization called Across, although I am supported by PC USA, by folks like you who give to the mission effort. And Across does many programs which help to fight the battles that this nation is now faced with. We have an integrated response program that helps fight the battle of people who are homeless. South Sudan and Colombia fight back and forth for the distinction of being the nation with the most displaced people. Not really an honor that I think they would seek, but they have that because so many people have fled during the war and are now seeking to return home, but also because of intertribal fighting amongst the people of South Sudan that causes people to flee their home, seeking safety. Our program works with helping these people come back to their own area, to get land, to build a home, to start cultivating and growing food so they can survive.